My name is Nick Traeger, and this is Meeples on the Ground. And today, we're going to be looking at the 2 to 4 player Coralia from R&R Games. Let's get started. So in Coralia, you are sending your robots to collect vast treasures, and also you're going down as a scuba diver to get those little treasure chests that you see in the pirate movies and the long lost treasures that are very valuable and worth a lot of victory points in this game. So let's go ahead to the board and see how to play. So this is a setup for 2 players. What you first have to do for setup is verify all the rules. So I'm not going to go over it too much. I'm just going to say that you have your turtle markers that you place all around the board where the turtle marker is supposed to be placed, representing on the board of a turtle. All of you face up so you can see the reward. And also your treasure chests. These will be face down, but on the other side you will see the reward. And you place them all around. The next thing you do is you're going to go ahead and shuffle up your shell, starfish, fish decks. And you'll place out 2 stingrays that I'll talk about later. And also, you're going to take 3 off the top from each deck to create your island deck over here. And then once you're all done with that, and you go ahead and you take, in a 2-player scenario, 2 dice of each color and you will roll them out. And you will place each die in the corresponding coral reef color that they belong to. Now, at any time, if they are rolled on, say, a turtle side, the turtles will be removed from the game, placed on the side of the game, so you can go ahead and get them through other abilities that cards might say. And anywhere else that you place the turtle or the dice will block that area. Now, in the case if you roll a scuba diver, you're going to go ahead and place it on top of a treasure chest, and that will prevent people from getting it since there's already a die there. And I'll go ahead and explain that more in depth later. So after you roll out all your dice, and you place them for setup, placing your turtles and also your treasure chests. And you're making sure your island's all set up with 3 cards from each of the piles over here. The fish, starfish, and shell cards. And you place out the 2 stingrays that are 2 unique sea creatures that I'll get into a little bit later. You're good to go and start ready to play the game. So like I said before, the goal of this game is you're trying to get the most victory points. You roll out dice, place them in the corresponding areas and colors on the board, and you will collect treasure chests, you will collect turtles, and then you will go ahead and perform the actions by getting some cards, and they will go ahead and be getting you points throughout the game. Some will be getting you goals until the end of the game, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. So, let's go over the first thing that happens in the game. You will take this little nice standee they have, the station rover, and you will roll 4 dice out that are on the top here. Now, after you do that, you will go ahead and pick one of these dice. After you pick one of those dice, you will put them in one of the areas shown. So say you pick a yellow turtle dice. You're going to go ahead and put that in the area. Say this was a yellow turtle dice. You will collect it and immediately do the action. In this case, you're going to go ahead and take a turtle from out of the game and perform that ability. And then you will get that turtle as well. Because when you flip over these turtles after you perform their actions, you're going to be able to have another special ability. Now what that does is you will place that in front of you, and like I will show you again, there's a little box around, and that's for a die. So anytime before you roll, so you'll roll, your opponent roll, and then when it comes back to your turn, you will have the option to save one of those die before you roll. So it's kind of like you're locking in a die. So you can say, hey, if I don't get anything good, at least I can do this action. And I'll get into more why that's a little little more to your advantage later. So the next action we're going to go over is the Scuba action. So after you're done rolling, you will pick another die because you will place that die you just rolled out. You'll go ahead, roll them out, and then you will pick that action. So another action you have an opportunity to do is a Scuba die. You place the die in the specific area. You go ahead and take your Scuba out, and you will place that where you see the Scuba diver on the board in the area where you placed your die in the color of that coral area. So I place it there. Now I don't get anything right away. What happens anytime you ever take another Scuba diver action into another area that's available, you will go ahead and move your Scuba diver to that other area. And what happens with that die you've left there, it will fall down to the treasure chest area, and you will be able to collect that treasure chest as long as there isn't a die there from setup. And then you will go ahead and collect the treasure chest. You will flip it over, and you will collect the reward. Also, with something I want to go over with the Scuba diver, at the end of the game, the Scuba diver will get you points for each die each space that has a die in it with a number. You will see numbers on the board. You'll see 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. The most points you can get at the end of the game is 15. So if I was to score for this right now, I have dies in these areas. That would get me 1, 4, so 5, 10 points. I would get a max of 10 points right now. Sometimes people move their divers to other areas because they think they can get more points in that area. And then if you leave, you will also get the treasure chest as long as there isn't a die there already. So that's some of the reasons you might want to take the Scuba diver action again. Or you want to take more yellow die actions to fill up those areas so you can get more points at the end of the game. The next action we're going to go over is the Starfish action. So you will get a die, and you will say, I'm going to do the Starfish action. You'll go ahead and get it, place it in the Starfish area, and come over, and you will do the Starfish action. Now you will get 3 cards, only keeping 1, and the other 2 will go back under the deck. Let me go ahead and show you some of the cards that you have opportunities to get. Now, the Starfish cards don't happen until the end of the game unless they say something different. So right now, you have an extra, you can choose to get a fish for a set collection, which we'll go over scoring later, or at the end of the game, for each turtle that you have, you will get 3 points for each turtle. So maybe during the game, you want more turtles because now you have this gold card. So you'll pick one, and the rest will go back under the deck. Next, we're going to go over the Shellfish action. So say you get a die, and you take it, and you put it in the Shellfish spot in the corresponding area, as long as there is no other die there. And then you go ahead and draw 2 cards off the top of the Shellfish deck. And you will keep both of them. Now with these cards, I'll get into scoring later, but they are a total of 9. So at the end of the game, you're going to score for 1 to 4 your cards. If you have the biggest value of all the cards that you've collected, you will be able to score for 4 of them. So if I had the biggest and I had a couple other cards, but right now I'd get 9 points. Now, if you came in second, you would get 2 cards and to score 4. And if you came in last, or everyone that came after that, would get to score only 1 of the cards they've collected throughout the game. Next, we have the Octopus action. So anytime the Octopus action is taken, for example, let's show the die face. You'll put in the corresponding area, the color, and then you go ahead and take one of your Octopus. And you go ahead and place them out. Now, the octopus is something good to have in the early game, and this is why. When the octopus comes out, you get 1 point for each die that's there. So right now, I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dice, or 5 points. And so I'll get 5 points. I'll come down on my tracker going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now, for every other octopus after this octopus has come out, you will get 1 point. But for each die that goes to the island area, you will get 2 points as long as it is a yellow die, because you have your octopus in the yellow coral reef. Now, with going to the, and we'll get a little bit more into the coral reef action, or the island action later. So the next action we have is the fish action. With the fish action, you will show the die face. Awesome. Come out, place it on that area of the coral reef with the same color, as long as there's no dice there, and you will go ahead and draw two cards, only keeping 1. Now, the goal of the fish is you want to get as many fish as possible, because they will go ahead and get you points for the set collection. So this is where I've drawn 2. Good thing, because these are 2 similar ones. I want 2 unique ones, or I want more unique cards. So I'll take one of these cards and then put one of them at the bottom of the deck. And all this will be in front of me. All these cards each player collects will be in front of them, secret to each other player. And the card backs for the shellfish, or the shell cards, the starfish cards, and the fish cards are all the same, including the island cards and also including the stingrays. So no other opponent can know what kind of cards you have. If they've been paying attention to your turns, that's only one other way they can really tell. So we've gone over each action that you can do while at a coral reef and while you're picking dice. So again, you will pick one of these dice. After you rolled, you will pick a dice, and then you will do the corresponding action. And then after that action, your opponent will go. They will pick a die of one of the colors that is still available, add it to the pool of the 4 max dice you can have. You will roll them out, and then you'll pick an action. It'll keep going back and forth. Now, like I said, if you have turtles will have that space behind them that before you go ahead and roll, you can lock in one of those dice. You're saying, well, if I can't, do anything, I want to be able to not, I want to maybe avoid the island action, and I want to be able to actually take something on the board. So I want to make sure at least I can do something, and that's why you maybe want more turtles. Now, if you can't do anything, if you roll out all your dice and all the places are preoccupied, or if you don't want to take that action, you can go ahead and do the island action. So say right here you have the blue fish, and you went ahead and had another blue fish. Instead of putting here, because you can't, because it's already locked in with 1 die, and that's the max D you can have, you move it over to the island action. Now, when you go ahead and do that, you will get 1 card off the top of the deck of the island, and that is all made up of 3 cards from the shell, starfish, and fish cards. Now, when that happens, you have to check the board. Is there any octopus in the and this is why you want them a little bit early, because people are going to start taking these action later on. Because if my opponent had the octopus here, they would get 2 victory points. But that would be good for me, because when I go ahead and do the if my opponent gets points while I'm the active player, I get to draw 2 cards and pick 1 and put them back under. Now, if it was my turn and I went ahead and I had my octopus at the blue space and I put a blue die there, I would get the 2 points, but still only get 1 card. You only get to pick from 2 cards when you're not the one scoring the points. But you don't want to give your opponents too much of an option to score points on your turn. But sometimes maybe you want to, because you're trying to get that extra fish or that extra upper hand. Because like I said before, all the backs of these cards are the same, so no one's going to know what kind of card you just picked up, and now there's a little bit of mystery in there. And maybe also you don't want to take that action that you rolled because it's not going to help you, or they have too many shells and you're not going to try to fight that race, but you want to try to get maybe something out of the upper hand. And like I said before, all the cards here are just, they're just everything from everywhere of the 3 piles over here. So we've gone over all the actions that you can do in a coral reef and the action you can do on the island, as long as you're not trying to, because you can't put something somewhere and try to do the island action. No, you have to, if you can't put something somewhere, you can choose to do the island action. Now, like I just said, we went over all the actions. We went over the scuba diver. We went over the octopus. Now we're going to go ahead and start talking about final scoring. So in a 2-player game, the game will end once you just have 4 dice left. After all the dice up here are gone and you just have 4 here, this is when it gets to end of round scoring. And we'll show you the end of round scoring marker or card. And what this does is you're going to first go through all of your Starfish cards, because again, some of these Starfish cards will have end of game scoring, and you will start with the starting player, because sometimes other cards will take cards from other people. Like there are some cards that will affect who gets what first. Like if a yellow is still on the field and I can grab it, snag it up, but then someone else was able to grab it, the starting player would get to get it first. So that's why you want to always start with the starting player with these Starfish cards. Next, you want to go to the scuba scoring. Like I said before, one of my players has a scuba guy right here. He's going to score for each die that is in a spot that has a number on it. So, for instance, in this case, there's no points here, no points here, even if I have a die there. But I get points for the shell, the starfish, the octopus, the fish, and if anyone took the turtle action. So again, I got 14 points here in total just by having him here. Now you got to be, strategic throughout the game as you play when you're setting up to where, because maybe you want to leave somewhere, get the treasure chest so you can go ahead and maybe get more points somewhere else, but you're leaving it open to, if it comes out later, where someone is, if the place you just left just gets a whole bunch of points, or the max points you can get, someone else might take that. So you got to be kind of careful throughout the game. So we went over the Starfish cards. We went over the scuba gear. Now let's go over the fish cards. And as you reveal all your fish cards, you will get cards for each set. And a set can just be 1 card, or a set can have 5 cards. And as you can see here, 1 card is worth 3 points, 2 cards is worth 7, 3, 12, 4, 18, and 5, 25. And keep in mind, these all have to be unique fishes. Now, if you have maybe 3 unique fish and another copy of a 4th fish, like you have 2 stingrays, you can get 3 points for that 1 stingray, and then that next set of 3 other cards, you can go ahead and score 12 points. And then we're going to go into the last phase of scoring, which is shell cards. Now with shell cards, you're going to go ahead and score up all of your points. Let's go ahead. See, this shell card right here only has 2, but you're going to go ahead and gather up the total value of all your shell cards. And then the person with the most shells is going to score for 4 of those cards, 4 of their top scoring shell cards. The next person is going to only score for 2, and everyone else after that is going to just score for 1 of their top shell cards. And one of the most high value shell cards that you have in the game is a 6. After that, the game is over. You have played through all of your rounds. You go ahead and score, and then whoever scores the most points is the winner. So if there is ever a tie, the player with the most cards collected will win. If there's still a tie after that, The players involved will see who has the most turtles, and if there's still a tie after that, both players enjoy the victory. So this has been another episode from Meeples on the Ground of how to play Coralia, the 2 to 4 player game from R&R Games. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay informed on all of our future content. Alright, talk to you guys later. Bye!